The construction site woke early that morning, with engines humming and workers moving in a steady rhythm as they prepared the ground for a tall office and apartment building. The plans were clear and approved, and the soil was expected to be soft and easy to remove, making the job routine. At least that was what they thought. Large machines rolled across the marked land, their metal arms cutting into the earth with practiced ease as dirt piled up into neat mounds. The crew worked calmly, following their schedule, talking over the noise, and expecting another ordinary day without surprises or delays slowing their progress. But by mid-morning, the digging crew reached a section of the land that suddenly behaved very differently. The top layer of soil was soft like the rest of the lot, but as the shovel of their digging crane dug a little bit deeper, it struck something hard. "What is that?" the operator called out. The excavator jerked sharply on the brake after the machine's bucket struck something hard beneath the surface, sending a dull, echoing clang through the machine. The operator froze for a moment, confused because this part of the land had been mapped as completely clear. The engine idled as the crew gathered around the spot, brushing away loose soil by hand and with smaller tools to uncover whatever had stopped their machine. At first, they thought it might be buried debris or an old pipe, something left behind from a previous structure. But nobody could have prepared them for this. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. As more dirt was cleared, a smooth, curved surface began to appear, unlike anything they expected to find. It looked like stone at first glance, but the shapes were too perfect, too round, and too deliberate, as if it had been placed there rather than formed naturally over time. Curiosity grew among the workers as they continued digging, revealing more of the object, which turned out to be a large bed made of spherical stones. It sat firmly embedded in the ground, its surface worn but strangely uniform, with no cracks or markings visible at first glance. But this rock-like structure was way more than just simple stone spheres that were stuck together. And the construction crew was about to learn the truth about this thing the hard way. After the tablet of balls was fully excavated, the crew motioned their foreman to take a closer look. And it was this crew's foreman, Peter Watson, who was struck hardest by the aftermath of this discovery. The man jumped into the freshly dug hole with careless confidence, eager to clear the object so he and his crew could continue their work. But that would prove to be easier said than done. As Peter walked around their find, he quickly noticed that there were carvings on all these stone balls. They seemed deliberate, almost delicate, as if carved long ago by expert hands. The carvings formed a combination of symbols and a language he could not read. "What is this?" he muttered. Peter brushed dirt from one of the exposed surfaces with slow, deliberate movements, trying not to damage anything. The texture felt smooth beneath his gloves, worn by time yet still holding its shape, and that alone told him these stones might have a story to tell. He had found plenty of things underground, but never anything like this. As he moved along the cluster, his eyes traced the faint carvings he had noticed earlier, now clearer in the daylight. The lines curved and intersected in ways that felt structured, almost like a language, though one he could not understand, and that realization made his chest tighten slightly. Peter had worked on enough sites to recognize when something might carry historical value, and this felt far beyond anything he had seen before. These stones were old, very old in his estimation, and the idea of tearing them out with heavy machinery suddenly felt careless in a way he could not ignore. He climbed out of the pit and wiped his hands against his work pants, glancing at his crew who now stood at a distance, watching him for direction. For once, he did not have an immediate answer, and that hesitation alone was enough to make the moment feel heavier than it should have. Reaching into his pocket, Peter pulled out his phone and stepped away from the noise of the machines, which had all gone quiet for now. He scrolled through his contacts until he found the council office, the same people who had approved the project and hired his team to begin with. When the call connected, Peter's clumsy explanation of the perfect spheres and cryptographic carvings instantly shattered the mundane atmosphere of the council office. The line went silent, then shifted to a senior board member whose initial irritation rapidly mutated into a desperate, frantic urgency. "Don't touch anything," the man commanded before slamming the phone down. Within 15 minutes, the quiet routine of the construction site was utterly obliterated. 5 massive black SUVs accompanied by a flatbed transport truck tore onto the lot. The workers assumed it was just an efficient removal crew, but Peter felt a cold knot tighten in his stomach. The men stepping out of the vehicles weren't typical city officials. They wore identical dark suits, their eyes masked by black sunglasses, moving with a chilling military precision. Instinct overrode reason. Sensing an imminent cover-up, Peter grabbed a nearby crowbar and struck the uncovered slab with shattering force. One of the stone spheres broke free and rolled against his boot. As the suited figures approached the pit, Peter quickly buried the loose orb under a layer of sand, maintaining a forced poker face as he blamed the noise on a ground tremor. The mysterious men asked no questions, operating in dead silence. Within 10 minutes, the heavy machinery hoisted the massive stone slab onto the truck, and the mysterious convoy sped away, leaving the site completely transformed. Peter waited until the dust settled before unearthing the hidden stone sphere. It was impossibly heavy, freezing to the touch, and intricately detailed. Wrapping it hastily in a heavy work cloth, he signaled Mark, his most trusted co-worker. Sealed inside Peter's truck, the air grew thick with tension as Peter revealed the stolen artifact. Knowing they were in over their heads, they drove straight to Peter's house, constantly checking the rearview mirrors for black SUVs. Inside the quiet kitchen, the true nature of the discovery began to unravel. Finding a faint artificial seam along the side of the ancient-looking stone, Peter applied careful pressure with a small tool. A sharp crack echoed through the house and the sphere split perfectly in half. The interior was entirely hollow. Nestled inside was a seamless, dark metallic cylinder, no larger than a fist, featuring a highly reflective surface that looked entirely futuristic. The moment Peter's fingers closed around it, the metallic core pulsed with a sudden warm energy. Faint, intricate lines across its surface began to glow a vibrant, rhythmic hue, casting an eerie light across the room. A low, steady electronic tone vibrated through the air. An ancient beacon had just been activated. The terrifying reality hit them instantly. This wasn't an archaeological relic. It was highly advanced technology, and the frantic arrival of the suited men meant the authorities knew exactly what lay buried under the city. Suddenly, a flash of high beams swept across the kitchen curtains. Peering outside, Peter saw a dark SUV crawling slowly down his suburban street. They were being hunted. Packing the glowing device into a bag, Peter and Mark fled into the night, realizing their only survival option was to seek protection. They bolted straight to the local police precinct, where the desk sergeant's initial skepticism vanished the moment Peter revealed a pulsing metallic core. The two men were immediately rushed through secure doors into a rear evidence room. Under the stark glare of fluorescent lights, Peter froze. Resting on a steel table was another identical metallic cylinder, glowing with the exact same rhythmic frequency. The supervising officer closed the heavy door and exposed a terrifying truth. A previous fraud investigation had recovered a similar device hidden deep beneath the foundations of a structurally compromised building. These mechanisms were designed to emit targeted low-frequency vibrations over time, unnoticeable tremors engineered to gradually crack load-bearing supports and trigger a catastrophic structural failure. When Peter revealed that they had just uncovered an entire bed of over 50 identical spheres, the room turned ice cold. This wasn't minor sabotage, it was an act of mass destruction. The puzzle pieces instantly fell into place. The city council had funded the entire construction project using millions in public taxpayer money. By burying these seismic devices beneath the foundation, the corrupt officials had engineered a delayed, seemingly accidental collapse. Once the building fell, the council could declare a natural disaster, collect massive insurance payouts, approve a second round of public funding for demolition, and hire the exact same contractors to rebuild from scratch. It was a flawless, multi-million-dollar loop of endless greed. Realizing the immediate danger Peter and Mark were in, financial crime detectives quickly organized a high-stakes sting operation, transforming Peter's quiet residential street into a tactical trap. Unmarked police units filled the shadows, while spike mats and heavy roadblocks were covertly deployed just around the corner. Inside the precinct, the minutes ticked away like a countdown as Peter and Mark waited in absolute silence, listening to the static hiss of tactical radios. Just after midnight, the call finally came over the radio. The black SUV had returned and slowed near Peter's house exactly as expected. Officers hidden nearby rolled spike mats into the street, sealing both ends before the driver noticed. Tires burst, the vehicle fishtailed wildly, and armed police surrounded it within seconds. Two men were pulled from the vehicle and arrested on the spot, both wearing the same dark suits Peter had seen at the site. At the station, they refused to speak at first, but the evidence room, the seized records, and the failed escape attempt wore them down faster than they expected. By morning, both drivers had confessed enough to confirm Peter's theory in full. The devices were planted under projects chosen for maximum payout, then activated slowly to mimic unstable ground over time. Payments were collected once for construction and again for rebuilding, while officials blamed nature and buried the truth under reports. The confession led police straight to the senior council member who had answered Peter's call, and by noon he was under arrest. News spread fast after that. Peter and Mark were praised as the men who stopped a massive scam before lives and millions in taxpayer money were lost for good forever.